All right, going live, and we are live now. We're live now! Just telling everybody here at the vacation home that we are live now. Hey, friends, it is Friday, August 23rd. Today would be my parents' anniversary, believe it or not. Sadly, they are both passed. But anyways, it is also smack dab in the middle of our time here on Martha's Vineyard. I saw a news report that President Obama is buying a mega mansion, a mega $1 million mansion here on the island. So that's enough said about that. The topic of today's video is, why am I shorting here? Actually, the better topic should be, this is a recap of PatternCast signals for Bitcoin, since today would make it exactly 1 week in operation for PatternCast Bitcoin signals. We've been in operation with the regular PatternCast for the better part of 10 months now. October will be 1 year. And in there we trade Forex futures and equities. But in the PatternCast Bitcoin service, as its name implies, we trade Bitcoin. Some people have asked me, will we be trading other cryptos in the future? And the answer is yes. The answer is definitely yes. So even more reason why you should take advantage of the deal that we have going on right now for $349 for an entire year until September 1st. That's when I go back home. Until September 1st, and then the price goes way up. So we will be adding most likely something like Ethereum and Litecoin. I don't see us going into the shit coins or any of these more obscure altcoins at all. And really the limiting factor is the amount of data that we have available to us, the amount of good data. And if you've been watching the show, you know that the Bitcoin signals are actually based on multiple exchanges. And we can only go back about 5 years to get enough quality data, even across all those exchanges. And then we normalize that data over those 4 or 5 exchanges. And then that's what we do our analysis on. Now, this is quite different from working in traditional markets that have regulated exchanges where the data is spot on. Here, we have a myriad of exchanges. Some of them are regulated by the United States government. Some of them are not. Some of them are all over the world. Some of them have data going back to 2019. Some of them only have data going back 2 years. And so that makes it very difficult to come up with any one exchange and say, hey, this is what we're going to standardize on. So we decided not to do that. We decided to get an aggregate of data. So it works out better for everybody. And the proof is in the signals. As of today, we've pushed out 6 signals. 5 have been winners. And I would say that 3 of those 5 have been big winners. One of them was flat to positive. So even though I'm not going to call that a loss, it's hard to call it flat because it was positive by about 100 points. And then the other one was a small winner of a couple hundred points. So I guess by most standards, those are still winners. So overall, I think I haven't counted up the total Bitcoin points that we've made out of those calls. But 5 out of 6, that's not a bad start. And that's kind of right in line with what we actually expected with these PatternCast calls. If you go back to the original PatternCast service, it has about an 80-85% win rate. Well, I guess that depends on how you measure that. Its actual win rate is closer to 96%, but that's encompassing all trades that are positive of 0. So you could have won $1 on a trade, and we would consider that a win over 4 days. Some people might not consider that a win. I'm just saying from a statistical point of view, 96% of all the trades in PatternCast at least in futures, forex, and equities, have end up above zero within 4 days. And so that's a pretty impressive stat. Now I expect the Bitcoin PatternCast signals to actually perform better. And what is the reason for that? Because we have more discernible signals, a better signal to noise ratio in Bitcoin data than we do in traditional markets. And the reason for that is the heightened amount of volatility. When you have more room, more distance between the peaks and troughs of a price, there's a lot more signal to the noise. And so therefore it's easier to pick off patterns that we can detect, identify, recognize, see similar patterns in price over a period of time and be able to recognize that. When you have a much smaller peak to trough or smaller volatility, it is much more difficult to discern those patterns. So even with the small volatility and particularly in this part of history, this time, this age, volatility is extremely low in traditional markets. In Bitcoin, that volatility is still a little low compared to other times in history, but it's still 4 or 5 times the size of the traditional markets, and that makes such a huge, huge difference. And so because of that, and what I'm getting at here is that increased volatility, systems like that, especially pattern recognition systems, they love that because they can see the patterns so much more clearly. Now, what are the patterns that PatternCast use? That's something that I can't answer really directly. So what we've done is we've trained the system with kind of a dialect. And this dialect consists of just small little snippets of patterns. And it has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these patterns. And what it does is it combines these in many different ways until it finds patterns that it recognizes in the data set. And then it looks for that pattern or something like that pattern to repeat over a long period of time. And we'll see how many occurrences of that pattern it will find. Now, PatternCast, because it is a pattern recognition machine, has the ability to be able to find thousands, even hundreds of thousands of these patterns. In effect, we have a system that doesn't trade off of one single strategy. It trades off of hundreds of thousands of strategies, potentially even millions of strategies that it is looking for patterns that it can recognize and then repeat over time. We can't see these ourselves. These are patterns that are really not written down on a website or in a book. It's not a Head and Shoulders. It's not a double top. It's none of that stuff. These are just patterns that the computer sees that repeat, and then it sets up what we call a scenario and then presents that to us. All right? And it's unbelievably effective. Now, the technology itself is not limited to picking off prices in a data stream for some kind of financial asset. You can actually use this technology in a wide range of different applications. And as a matter of fact, we're looking at stuff like that. But this is our passion, so this is what we're doing now, and this is what's most fun, and this is what I think a lot of people are benefiting from now. We like the financial markets. I mean, that's my background. But PatternCast could actually be used for just about anything that has a huge data set, like predicting weather or elections or sporting events. And all of those things we want to explore in the future. But right now, we're having such great success with it in traditional markets and now with Bitcoin. I mean, it's just so much fun. It really is. And it's fun to win. It's fun to win when you have a system that gives you a definitive edge. And you no longer really have to worry about your setups, your entries, your exits, and all that other stuff. PatternCast finds them for you, and all you have to worry about is the execution and your money management and managing the profits as opposed to managing risk. That's a fundamental difference in the way people look at trading now with a signal system, that they manage profits with a known edge. They're not managing risk or loss. When you manage loss, that's what you do. You lose. When you manage profits, you profit, you win. And that's really the big difference between PatternCast and other things. And it's really the difference between what professional traders do as opposed to retail traders. Most professional traders have their own system that they use, but what they do is they spend millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars to assemble a bunch of astrophysicists and MIT grads and everything to work on these strategies for them and then churn out those signals. We have this under wraps, and this has been under development for the past 10 years. And look, I've been in the business, in that same business with hedge funds, financial institutions and others, being involved directly in the development of those things and actually hiring those type of quant teams. And this is fundamentally similar to that. It is basically the same thing, only you can get it for $359 or $349 for an entire year. I just can't imagine. So why am I shorting right here? Well, this isn't actually a that's the title of this particular video. I am not shorting because of PatternCast right here. There is a call out on PatternCast right now that says go long should the price go down to, let's see, what is that price? The current at 97.75. So there is a signal out that came out last night. It's kind of a what if scenario. If price were to drop down to 97.75, which is way down here, right about there. If price were to drop down to there, we have, PatternCast says that is an objective long call. And that signal is good for today only. If it does go down to there, we expect it to pop up again to 10,240. So that's last night's signal. I'm not sure that that's going to happen, especially after the strong move in PatternCast. But I'm not sure who's trying to call me, but I'm sorry, I'm not taking the call. PatternCast jumped up, or I'm sorry, Bitcoin jumped up from this volume node to this other minor volume node here. And that volume node looks, let's see, how do I stop that? That volume node looks fairly strong, as you can see here, and that's why I chose to short. What I did was I set up a short at about 10,400, and we're right now just about at 10,400, a couple of points under, 10,397. I expect us to consolidate here and then move down again. I really wasn't expecting, I really don't expect us to come back up to this previous level right now. Because if you look at it from a longer term point of view, our overall direction is still slanted towards the downside. Now, of course, when I say that I'm shorting Bitcoin, of course, everybody comes out of the woodworks thinking that I'm some sort of heretic. Shorting Bitcoin? Are you kidding? How can you short Bitcoin? Blasphemy! Well, that's what I did. So I'm shorting it for now. This is not a PatternCast call. This is an Ernie call. And I'm looking to take profit right about 10,250. So about a 150 point move, and I'll be happy. And that's after, again, 5 out of 6 PatternCast calls that have gotten me to here. So I feel perfectly justified. And look, if we pop up a little, I'm trading small. I'll take a minimal loss, So if we pop up to 10,500, I'll take that off. But I'm looking for it to move down to about 10,150. If it goes down and reaches this other volume node, which I expect that it might, 10,125, all the better. So that's why I'm taking that short right now, purely based on volume profile analytics. All right, let's see who we have out there right now today. Smart. See, this is Smart Nexus. He's starting to become a troll. Ernie's spreading FUD again. And Adam Smith, the same thing. FUD, glorious FUD. Why is this FUD? To short Bitcoin, as if that is... How is it when you take a short-term call on an asset, somehow that is spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt? That just doesn't make... Obviously, you need PatternCast because your heads are really right up your asses, quite frankly. Gutierrez, how long will the price drop after this move according to PatternCast? This has nothing to do with PatternCast. This particular move, this is my call, 100%. As I said, there is a call for PatternCast to take a long at 97.75, but that's only good for today. That'll be good up until UTC's 0, which is at about, I think it's about 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern time. So if by 8 o'clock Eastern time we do go down there, then I would switch to a long. So Gutierrez says, I've been following you since 2008 when you were trading Apple. I was surprised to see you again in the cryptosphere. Well, I've been commenting on the cryptosphere since early 2017, maybe even earlier than that. Alan Sturber, I hear Ernie and Obama are going to be neighbors on Martha's Vineyard. That, I don't think so. I highly doubt that. But it's an interesting thought. So anyways, there is where we stand right now. We're about 1 week, a little over 1 week left on... Hold on, we'll show you. 1 week left for you to get involved in PatternCast at this price, at this introductory price. I call it the founder sale. Here we go. It's coming up. It's the founder sale. There's 1 week, 1 day, 23 hours, and 41 minutes. You can claim your membership. After September 1st, this price of $349 a year is going up to $1295 a year. But you can lock in that $349 forever by getting involved now. I mean, just based on, and I don't want you to base it on 5 out of 6 trades. I mean, that sounds impressive, but it's only 1 week. What's it going to do after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months? What you should be looking at is the traditional PatternCast that is showing exactly that same kind of performance. You can check that out by going to the results tab up here in right there. There's a results tab up here. That results tab, we have tabulated all the trades that have happened in PatternCast. And you can download that data for yourself and see what it's done. So it's pretty simple. And as I said, because the Bitcoin signals have 3 to 5 times as much volatility, I expect that the pattern recognition machines to be spot on, to be even more accurate than the incredible PatternCast for traditional markets. So, Don Collins, Ernie, call me when you get a minute. Thanks. I'm not sure how to call you, Don. So, Ernie, what volume profile setting do you use? I don't know what that means. What volume profile setting I use? I didn't know that there was a volume Well, there are. First of all, I do not look at up and down volume. I try to look at as fine a granularity of volume profile that I possibly can. I analyze volume profile in multiple time frames. So I usually start with weekly, then daily, then 4 hour. I usually don't go much lower than that. So that should tell you. So Don, if you want to call me, go to my website, traderoffutures.com, and look at the About link. Oh, I know Don Collins. Anyways, hold on. Hold your horses here. I don't know how to make this work. I think Don Collins wants to come on board. Ernie, why do you give these FUD people any time on your channel? Your channel is PatternCast. I don't understand why you give so much time. You know, part of what I do here is yelling at people, and and if I get the opportunity to yell at some dimwits, then I'm going to yell at them. Tough love. All right. Let's see if we can get Don Collins on. Is Don Collins going to answer the phone?
Hello.
Hi, Don.
Hey, are you still live?
Yes, I am.
I don't want them hearing you.
Oh, okay. Bye. All right, that's all we've got for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Where's the off button? We'll see you next time.